Samanta Chakavalesu Atra Gachantu Devata Sadhammang Munirajas Sunantu Sakka Mokkhadan Dhamma Savana Kalo Ayang Bhadanta Dhamma Savana Kalo Ayang Bhadanta Dhamma Savana Kalo Ayang Bhadanta Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Udakang hi nayanti nettika usukara namayanti tejanang Darung namayanti tachaka attanang damayanti panditati. Here the teachers and students of Gateway International School commemorating the important significant events that took place on Poson Poya Day are now going to listen to a sermon which Buddha preached us for sake of our goodness in this world and in the world to come, targeting the supreme bliss of Nibbana. The stanza that I mentioned at the beginning could be found in Dhammapada in Arahanta Vagga, in the Arahanta chapter. Before going into a discussion under the stanza, in short, let us see the significant event that took place on a Poson Poya Day, what we are commemorating now. Poson Poya Day marks the arrival of Buddhism, the greatest gift that we all ever received in our history. So it is this arrival of progress that we were led by towards such a great development throughout our history up to now. And it is because of this arrival that we children could be civilized. And it is because of this arrival that we had a beginning of a proper education. And it is because of this that we all could become inward human beings. So it is such a great day that we all here observing still commemorate. So children, going back to the stanza that I mentioned at the beginning, let us see the translation or what this stanza means in English. Udakanghi nayanti nettika. Nettika in English means irrigators. Udakanghi nayanti nettika, irrigators lead the water where they want. Usukara namayanti tejanang. Usukara comes in Pali, means Fletchers. Hope these children are familiar with the word Fletcher, F-L-E-T-C-H-E-R. Fletchers bend shafts as they want. They bend irons as they want. Darung namayanti tachaka. Tachaka in English means the carpenters. Carpenters bend wood as they want. So do the wise men, restraining themselves. And this is what the stanza means. So let's at the beginning know why Buddha preached this stanza. Once there was a family when the Buddha was dwelling at Savatthi, a rich family. In that rich family, children, there was the father and the mother. And they were very pious, they were very confident in the triple gem. So they were always respecting the teachings of the Buddha, were doing all the possible goodness that they could practice. Later, these mother and father gave birth to us a baby son. Normally, soon after the birth, children, what our parents do is, one of very significant fact that our parents attend is naming the newly born neonate or the baby. So likewise, these two also wanted to name their child. Now, for example, children, if you were to be named, your parents are always sometimes worrying about having a good name for the baby newly born. So what your parents have done, and even other parents have normally do, is that they go for someone who is very famous to seek a name for the newly born baby. Sometimes thus the names that you have got are not in a position to represent what the person is about. Now, in the past, now consider these few names. When you hear Achala, Sugat, Sudhira, you have some information behind these names. And listen to these few names also: Senturan, Tamilini, Nadeshan. When you hear these names, children, you have some information about the person. And also when you hear Muhammad, Fatima, Rishma, then also you have some information about the person. There is some representation in certain names, children. So at the hearing of a name, we can simply guess to which nation, to which religion does the person belong. But in present days, names for some reasons or other mostly do not represent. Very recently I came to know of a name of a child, a girl child, that her name was Terenska Tengani. And later on I was curious to know to which party does she belong, not to argue on. Later I came to know that she was a Buddhist, a girl from a Buddhist family. But does the name represent to what she belongs? No. So anyway, this is how our parents name us. But here what happened is, these two parents did not want any other person to name their child. They themselves observing the complexion, appearance, the physicality of the baby, named the baby with the name Pandita. Now, you might wonder when you hear the word Pandita using for naming a baby, but this was the name used by the parents for the child. So, baby Pandita, he was thereafter called. Like if I am to ask some of you children, what's your name might mean something and have some sounds, and sometimes there may be meanings, and sometimes even you and those who named you might also not know the meaning of the word. So, anyway, thereafter he was called Pandita. As I told you children at the beginning, this mother and father was very pious, and they were very faithful in the triple gem. So, they were influenced by Buddhism, by the teaching of the Buddha, because Buddha was also dwelling and they had access to listen to Dhamma. So, they were doing all the goodness to the maximum. So, this child from the birth could be exposed to a world of goodness. Now, at home, they are observing the complexion, appearance, the physicality of the baby, named the baby with the name Pandita. Now, you might wonder when you hear the word Pandita using for naming a baby, but this was the name used by the parents for the child. So, baby Pandita, he was thereafter called. Like if I am to ask some of you children, what's your name might mean something and have some sounds, and sometimes there may be meanings, and sometimes even you and those who named you might also not know the meaning of the word. So, anyway, thereafter he was called Pandita. As I told you children at the beginning, this mother and father was very pious, and they were very faithful in the triple gem. So, they were influenced by Buddhism, by the teaching of the Buddha, because Buddha was also dwelling and they had access to listen to Dhamma. So, they were doing all the goodness to the maximum. So, this child from the birth could be exposed to a world of goodness. Now, at home, our children mostly, very rarely there may be instances, but very mostly, but our children experience is something on the contrary, something opposite to this. So, because of this, our children have been unable to experience some goodness from the behavior of our parents sometimes, and it is not applicable everywhere, but there are so many instances. But this child was exposed to a world of goodness, and always their parents were doing religious activities, religious observances, and they were always experiencing what the Buddha taught for them to follow. So, this child had enough exposure. So, from the birth he always got opportunity to experience these things. And when this child became the age of 7, he developed a desire to become a monk. Now, if children, one of you wants to become a monk, what you must first of all do is obtaining the permission from your parents or from your guardians. That is a must. So, this incident once this incident took place, normally our parents, if one of you asks your parents, can I become a monk, mother or father or papa, if you without respect, if you call your parents whatever, can I become a monk, you will most probably just ask and see, will not be allowed to do so. But this child, there is another thing also, children, for you to know. Now, as I told you at the beginning, this child, when there is a religious activity at home, could experience, and he also, though he was a small one, could join the activity. Now, what happens at your home when there is a religious activity is, children, normally do your parents allow you to stay there? Now, for example, take a Dana ceremony. When there is a Dana ceremony, are you allowed to stay in the premises? Most probably, we have seen, we have experiences, parents driving away their children for them to ease the program. So, our children unluckily miss the opportunity to see how a Dana ceremony is taking place. So, when it comes to writing essays under Dana ceremony that took place at our home, only a few sentences that they are able to write might be, a group of monks came and they entered our house and they stayed for some time, and later they left the place and they went away, and this may be their content of their composition. That's the reason why for this bad situation, this pathetic situation, is that our students, unlike this Pandita, baby Pandita, do not get exposure to those religious observances activities. Mostly for ease of it, what parents do is just driving them away, seeking their success in the function. So, unlike that, this baby Pandita had enough exposure. He himself could join the alms giving, join the activity, whatever their parents did. So, based on these behavior and conducts and exposure, he developed a desire. So, he asked his parents. But as I told you, though you will ask your parents whether your parents will allow you to become a monk, you ask and see, most probably it might not take place. But at the very hearing of this request from the baby, who was in the age of 7, their parents, his parents, allowed the child to become a monk. So, they offered the child to the Buddha, and Buddha ordered Venerable Arahat Sariputta Thero to ordain the child. And at the ordination, children, normally our names change. So was the name, and his lay name was Pandita, and at the ordination also Sariputta Thero did not want to change the name. He used the same name for his monkish life also. So, he was named at the ordination with the name Pandita. He was still a Pandita, though he became a monk. And after 7 days of his ordination, once following an alms round with Venerable Arahat Sariputta Thero, on the way he observed several incidents that took place. Now, children, you can imagine a situation, an incident where you join your parents when they are marketing or shopping or going to Sunday fairs or things like that, something that take place normally in a town. If I am to ask a question from you, children, what are you willing to observe on the way? And I have asked from some other children, their answer was of 2 types. One thing that they are observing on the way when they are following with their parents or on the way is some food items. And there was another answer, that is that they seek always a toy to play. So, these were the two things that our children are worrying about when they are on the way, because they are very much fond of these two things. And there are children who said, we are keeping our eye on the books also and newspapers also. If they are somewhat related to our education, we buy them also. We have an eye on them also, but they were very few in number. So, mostly what normally our children target or focus at or observe when they are on the way is children, one of these. Now, let us see what this small novice monk noticed or observed on the way on an alms round. Udakangi Nayanti Nettika is what he saw first. On the way, this monk saw a group of irrigators channeling water there where they wanted. And suddenly he was with Venerable Arahant Sariputta Thero. He questioned Sariputta Thero, can the water which has no mind be guided to wherever one wishes? This was the question. Replying to the question raised by the novice monk, Arahant Sariputta Thero told the small novice monk, yes, the water can be led or channeled to where one wishes. So, this could impress the small monk. Oh, it is something marvelous, because water has no mind, but it could be led to wherever one wishes and could be made the maximum use of it. Having remembered this on the way, observed this on the way, they were still continued on their way. And on the way later, he observed that a group of fletchers, some fletchers trying to bend iron shaft to in order to make some tools, instruments which they wanted. So, this also, this small novice monk start pondering, oh, this is also wonderful. Now, iron or shaft has no shape as such, or it is lifeless and it does not have a mind, but still having led it in a correct proper way and having molded it, people could use it for many purposes. And sometimes later on the way, this small novice monk could also observe the other one. The last one he observed on the way while on the alms round was that a group of carpenters making use of wood, making different kinds of furniture, tools, instruments, etc., for making the maximum use of that. So, these three things could impress the small monk. Now, children, you know, water has no mind. Water does not have a mind, and thus is the iron. It also does not have a mind. And the other thing is wood, and wood also of no mind. So, this monk, after the round ball alms round, having come back to the temple, start thinking, oh, marvelous is it, people making use of things which have no life gain so many profits, gain so many uses, helps and assistance. So, these things are unconscious, but could be made use to several purposes once they are molded. So, having in a deep contemplation, and pondering, this small novice monk started thinking, why should I, being conscious, be unable to tame myself, my mind, and become something more useful, someone more useful to me on my own and for others as well. He started thinking. Thus, this very thought, children, could bring this small novice monk attain the third stage called Anagami in the sainthood stream. Now, what I want our children to focus on at the end of this sermon is, children, now you, if I ask you whether you have toys at home, there will be only one answer, or it will be just yes. Every one of you have. Is there any value of them for you? If I ask, you say yes. But do you protect them? If I ask, you might not protect them, because you know how much troubles one has suffered to make your toy. So, sometimes it may breaking it into some pieces may be what you are able to. Children, you should know this has not been passed into our generation. In the past, when we were children, our parents did not buy any toys for us. We on our own had to make the toy for us to play. So, there were some woods and some pieces of nails and some pieces which could be made used to make a toy, and they were only assistance. So, we on our own made the toy for us to play. So, children, when we on our own made the item, we could still play with it and we were happy, and there was some pride within. One thing you should remember is, children, when you buy toys, you will not learn how to make a toy, because you are not worried about how this has been made. So, if you are to make your own toy, you will experience the difficulty, and ultimately once you finish making the toy, you will identify that this piece of wood, this piece of iron, this piece of rubber was turned out to be something different. So, these artificial material gadgets could be turned out to be different productions. Like that, children, though you are very small children, you also, children, can make things into so valuable things. Even material things you can make into so useful things. Likewise, children, remember, from the beginning, if you can make your mind also towards the welfare of your own and for your parents and all the others in the society, your mentality will be developed, children. If you are doing good things at home, and if you are good at your school and being obedient under your teachers, then also you will used to do good things. When, children, you used to do good things, what is possible is your mentality becomes so pleasant. Children, when your mind is pleasant, whatever you say and whatever you do will be pleasant as well. If there is anger in your mind, children, you will not proceed well. You sometimes may be in the need to hit or pinch or do some bad things to who is around you. Always, therefore, think that this mind could be made used to for the welfare of your own. And if your mind is pleasant, children, remember, at once when your teachers are trying to inculcate knowledge in you, you will grab it. There are instances where children are unable to grasp the lesson. The reason why for such incidents is, children, your mind is not pleasant enough. So, maintaining a pleasant mind is a must, children. For that, what you must do is to behave well, being obedient to your parents, and under the teaching of the Buddha, if we can, from the our beginning of our life, we will definitely be able to become good citizens, model characters in the society. Whether or not others admire ourselves, children, if we on our own can think, if I on my own can think that I am a useful person to me and to others, that will alone will make my mind over and over again pleasant. So, this pleasant mind will help you, children, to become good human beings, good Buddhists, and good children who are to represent our nation, our religion, and especially the teaching of the Buddha. So, children, with the sermon that Pandita novice monk could attain ultimately to the arahantship, arahant position. So, we do not have such aims in our life, but to achieve at least to a certain level of attainment in our life, children, start from the beginning. Do not wait till you become big ones in the society. If you can, start it today. Now, this story teaches us that even small ones can make miracles in the society, developing their mind. So, you, though you are very small children, you can't escape saying we are too young and we are too small to understand these things, and we are not, that is, they are to follow these things. Do not have excuses, children. Always have this in mind. If a monk, a boy of 7 years age could restrain his mind to the greater achievement, why we who are even 7 years older than that can't attain in this very life level of attainment in this life itself. So, children, you have that power, you have that strength. Understand this, be obedient children to your teachers and your parents and to the religions as well, and always think the welfare of every one of you who are around you. Be always cooperative, contribute well to the society. You are there, you have the power with you, so you can do this, and once you start doing this, you will experience the amount of happiness that you can gain. So, this could be developed to a greater level by this Pandita novice monk. Though we do not have such aims in this very life, children, start it today, develop your mind, have a pleasant mind, so that you can be very useful human beings in this society today and in the future, so that you will be so useful to you and for others and for the Buddha Sasana, for the existence of the Buddha Sasana. So, with that I wind up my sermon with this request. Say everyone, every child, sadhu again. So far, during this time period, we listened to a sermon, and it was about a small novice monk. We came to know the story, and we have in our mind some determination after listening to this Dhamma. May this determination, the merits gained through this determination be a power for all of us to be happy. And first of all, let us transfer merits to those who died by our names and by the names of the college, and let us also transfer the merit for gods. May all the gods be happy with the merits that we transfer now, and may their divinity be improved, and ultimately may they all attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. It is us children who gathered merits here. It was your teachers who guided you, and also we should thank with merits to this media of Buddhist channel and most venerable Kusala Dhammanayaka Thero for conducting, maintaining this type of service for the existence of Buddha Sasana, and because of all these goodness, may all we be good and well and happy in this very life and in the world to come, and ultimately may we all attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Akasatta ca Bhummatta Devanaga Mahindika Punyantang Anumoditva Chirang Rakkantu Loka Sasanang. Akasatta ca Bhummatta Devanaga Mahindika Punyantang Anumoditva Chirang Rakkantu Loka Sasanang. Akasatta ca Bhummatta Devanaga Mahindika Punyantang Anumoditva Chirang Rakkantu Loka Sasanang.